What are a couple of the key ingredients that are really most important as you make a decision in terms of either A, choosing a channel partner, or B, keeping a channel partner?
I think there's a couple things. Probably if I had to boil it down to one, it's the willingness and ability to invest. Investing in their infrastructure and in their people so that they're able to go out and drive the product sales and support what we're doing. But the most important part is just getting out there and talking with customers in front of them and building up that habit and that experience. And a lot of it becomes monkey see, monkey do. Easy and consistent for the holy grail in the channel business. You know, that engine is so important. I've done it before where it was just sort of haphazard and everyone's running around. I don't know if you remember they used to have that football game. It was like a square and you put all the little pieces in there. You just turn it on and they vibrate and they all move around and hopefully your pieces get to the other side or not. Well, that's what it feels like when you don't have a system. You're just hoping and seeing, where things vibrate to.
Welcome to Building Your Sales Engine. I'm your host, Mark McGraw. Hey friends, Mark McGraw here. Welcome back to Building Your Sales Engine. Hey, on today's episode, I have an interview with the most talented and an amazing guy, John Rosati. John has been a friend and client for many, many years. And if I were to point to one person who knows about selling through channels and distributions and third parties, this guy is a wealth of knowledge. So if that's you, tune in and make sure you take down every word he says, because he is going to drop a lot of golden nuggets right here for you in terms of selling through third parties and channels. So as always, if you're enjoying our episodes, please like and subscribe. It helps our show tremendously. If there's anything we can do for you, please do reach out. And we will also put contact information for John over in the show notes. If you have follow-up questions for him or like to reach out to him, you can do that over there. Let's dive into the conversation. So everybody, welcome back to Building Your Sales Engine. I have my good friend and all-around great guy, John Rosati, with us here today. John, welcome to Building Your Sales Engine, sir.
Thanks, Mark. It's an honor and really fun to be here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. This is a long time coming. You have no idea. When we launched our podcast, we launched our show in November of last year. If you weren't the number one name that I wrote down to have as a guest, you were certainly in the top three, no joke, when we were brainstorming.
It's got to be hard to get, right? So I think you taught me that. But you finally got me, and I'm glad that we could be here. And I mean, you got so much great content, a lot of great shows. It's, the guests that you've had on and all the wisdom and experience and nuggets, it's really interesting. A great, addition to all the other training that you do.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We've had a lot of fun with it. There's no doubt. And truth be told, if I did it for the only reason for my own personal learning, that I get to pick the brains of wonderful, smart people that have such unique abilities in certain areas. And we get to, unpack and decompress and all the deconstruct and all the fancy words people use to begin to unfold how someone thinks about a particular topic.
Yeah.
And today, you and I'll ask you to give everybody a little introduction about yourself. But today, we're going to unpack selling through channels and distribution and third parties and all the above, which has a lot of nuances to it. And it's something you are exceptional at. When it comes to that. So, John, for everybody's sake, a little bit of background on yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and where you are and what got you here.
Well, I've been, my selling has been my career, really in technology sales for about 30 years now. So, I started right at the ground floor, I guess you could say, right out of college. I took on a position at Motorola, where I'm at now, doing lead generation. So that was 70 to 100 calls a day, just cold calls. And we got the list. It wasn't the warm list of people that were excited to find out about Motorola products. They called it the black hole. And these were the people that the company had either, got really aggravated or we abandoned or we, something went wrong. And they were getting us college, fresh out of college guys to call them up and try to make amends. So it was really a challenging and rewarding type of aspect. We got trained on all the different products, got to call all different regions. And so from there, I moved up into inside sales and started partnering with the outside salespeople, working with channel partners a little bit. This was my first introduction into dealing with those types of companies. And then I liked that so much, I ended up going into outside sales. So, and then I really ended up selling both through, directly and through channel partners. And so that whole journey led me, to different companies, both large public companies and large private firms as well. And then, but beginning and working with the channel was a common thread. When I look back at my career, that was nearly every role that I had. I was always working with channel partners in some capacity. So when I was at Avtech, which does voice dispatch software company, in fact, where I first got introduced to the Sandler process, which was in 2015. So well into my selling career, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. So that was with Bill McCrary here in Columbia, South Carolina. And then obviously I got hooked up with you, many years ago, and it's been just a key part of all the sales teams and our processes from there going forward. So when I stepped up and started leading about 5 years ago, Motorola's channel partner business for all of our professional communications and radio for both Canada and the US for North America, it provided me a great opportunity to work with so many different companies, so many different people, and just an opportunity to put a lot of these Sandler methods and practices into play in a channel environment, which is a little bit different, right? You've got to sell through, with, in front of, behind other companies that have different agendas, different capabilities. When you do it right, it's a force multiplier. When you don't, it's not good.
It's a mess.
Yes, yeah,
it's a mess. But thankfully, if I look at all the different experiences, that at least I've seen selling through channel partners, by and large, they're very successful. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, it really is a very good method to bring a product to market.
Yeah, I've been blessed to work with a lot of great channel partners. We've developed new ones and ones that have been around for 70, 80, 90 years. And what channel partners bring is that local presence. Lots of times I spent many years selling to state and local government, public safety entities, but also to commercial and enterprise. And they've got those relationships with all the local buyers, the buying decision makers. They understand the lay of the land. They've got credibility. And so that's where I think channel partners add just a whole nother capability that as a manufacturer, you just can't reproduce. And so being able to tap into that, but that, it takes a lot of different things you've got to do to enable those channel partners so they can effectively represent and sell your business.
Yeah, and in my corporate days, when I was selling through channel partners, we called them manufacturers, reps, agents, distributors, all the other terms. They're all slightly different, but same concept. You're selling through a third party. One of the things we had a huge advantage with is that they would sell other products. So they would hear about deals
yes,
and projects that we could get involved in that our direct channel, which we also had as well, often couldn't find because they were limited. So it was a great way to generate more opportunities through selling through a channel because they saw things that were happening, as a result of their relationships that our direct team would never see.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. They just have more exposure in different ways because of those other products that they carry, the different services they offer. And many times, a lot of our solutions are complex, large system type of solutions, not only initially, but they require that ongoing touch and maintenance and support. And so having partners that work with other companies, other products, are knowledgeable about other parts of the business or the industry is a huge value add because then they can help integrate and bring all those things together to provide a total solution to that end customer that we as the manufacturer couldn't do. And so they really help, or that glue and that last mile between everything. That's when it's, high value to the end customer. And you get a 1 + 1 = 3 type of dynamic between the manufacturer and the channel partner. That's what we always try to look for. That's what we try to emulate when we go out to market. When you do that, it's hard to compete against and customers want to work with you and you really become that console of choice for them. So it's a powerful, powerful combination.
And John, you over the years developed a bit of a framework or a model that I saw you use in working with channel partners. And I believe you called it the sales engine,
That's right.
or
Absolutely. Yep.
which is, of course, I'm not sure if you know this or not. That is the name of our company, Sales Engine LLC.
Absolutely.
Probably for some of the same reasons, but we have
Yeah.
the same line of thinking. But why don't you do this? Walk us through a little bit about that process that you use and how you think and how you manage metrics. I know eventually we think about, but walk us through the principles of your framework for being able to manage through third parties and channel partners.
Yeah. I think, having a system, that engine is so important. I've done it before where it was just sort of haphazard and everyone's running around. I don't know if you remember they used to have that football game. It was like a square and you put all the little pieces in there. You just turn it on and they vibrate and they all move around and hopefully your pieces get to the other side or not. Well, that's what it feels like when you don't have a system. You're just hoping and seeing, where things vibrate to. And so all your team, your partners, everyone's just vibrating around, doing a bunch of different activities. And, maybe one time it works, maybe a time it doesn't. So that sales and revenue engine is all about putting in a repeatable, consistent process that everyone can follow, that everyone understands. And that's what's so important for channel partners, but also for sellers. That's what I wanted as a seller, was something that was consistent. Give me the ingredients, let me know how to do that so I can go rinse and repeat and keep driving those results. And so that's really what we try to do with a sales engine for our channel program, providing that predictable revenue and a way to just keep fuel that growth. So it's everything from in the beginning, making sure you've got the right partners in place and onboarding them and getting them up to speed onto what you offer, how you go about selling it, having certification programs, all those types of things. And then from there, it's a lot about continuing that enablement with training and co-selling. What we're big into, since we do a lot of complex solutions, it's lots of times we'll go sell in front of our partners. So meaning we'll go to those end users and start setting preference, talking to them about solutions, and develop that opportunity. So then we can bring those partners in at the right time, so they can get involved then and then add their capabilities of local presence, service capabilities, integration with other products, and really help complete the whole puzzle and deliver that for the customer. And then finally it becomes, the different programs as part of that selling system to help drive behaviors, incentivize partners to focus. One of the things you talked about earlier was, hey, it's great. Partners can offer a lot of different products and capabilities. When you're a manufacturer, that can both be a benefit, but it also can be inhibit, right? Because now they're distracted and your wallet share of that partner is now, decreased because they're working with other companies. And so you want them to be first and foremost driving and thinking about your solution and then building everything around it. Obviously, selfishly, that's what we want. So putting programs and incentives in place that really make it worthwhile for partners, for their sellers, for their companies, for that matter, to do all of that is really important. And then finally, the last place of that engine is the metrics and dashboards. Data is so big. Our channel is high transaction based. We've got everything from selling individual devices and hardware to long-term 10-year service and support contracts to large infrastructure. So having data and insights to be able to measure leading indicators, what's working well, where are we starting to see things slipping, where do we need to step up performance, because you can't focus on everything all at the same time. So we use a lot of dashboards, and I would rely a lot on sales operations to help identify, hey, where are we seeing softness, it's sort of like a weather forecaster, and then we can sort of steer and shift the team, try not to do it too quickly and drive chaos, but focus some attention where it's needed in order to help drive the results and keep everyone going in the right direction.
And we both know how much channel partners love reporting, but that's a story. By the way, all salespeople, that's not their favorite thing, but especially.
But channel partners especially. Because a lot of you think about. Some of them some of our channel partners are $1 billion companies. Some of them are 50 million, but there's a lot that are small companies. And a lot of people go to the small companies because hey, I don't want to be part of all that corporate gobbledygook. I don't want to have to do a bunch of reports and dashboards. And so when we go to them and say, hey, we need you to fill out reports and dashboards, that's a tough conversation that they don't want to have. So coming up with ways that make it easy and benefit them has really been key. And that's where we've had a lot of success getting partners to share that with us.
Love it. And let's come back to the make it easy, because I think that's an important component to this. You mentioned at the beginning, which is selection. How do you know you have the right people? I know this is going to be different for everybody that is selecting or even evaluating their current channel. But when you think about, John, what are a couple of the key ingredients that are really most important as you make a decision in terms of either A, choosing a channel partner, or B, keeping a channel partner? Anything that jumps out at you in terms of what's most important when you make a selection?
I think there's a couple things. Probably if I had to boil it down to one, it's the willingness and ability, those two things, to invest. And that's investing, in their infrastructure and in their people, so that they're able to go out and drive the product sales and support what we're doing. So if they're not willing to invest, if they don't have the wherewithal, the capability, or even see the importance of it, that's when it'll be a hard pass, because a lot of people have great intentions. And, when it comes time to sign partners up, hey, they want to take on as much as they can. It looks great on their website. When they go talk to customers, we represent all these different companies, but their ability to actually do something with it, that's what I'm always looking for, is partners that will invest the money to train, to enable, to support their customers and their sellers, make sure they have good comp programs and everything around that. That's, I think, the number one indicator of a partner's success factor.
Yeah, it sounds like it's that mindset piece that's such a big part of it. Are they willing to put back into the business? And I've seen this. I've seen what you alluded to a minute ago too, which is they take the line on, they take the the OEM on, but they don't do anything with it.
Yes.
And so I think that's part of it. So let's talk about that for a minute. How do you make sure that you get and keep and maintain Mindshare through this? Because to bring somebody on, if you've got the right partner, you also have to have a certain amount of. You said wallet share. I think Mindshare, same principle,
thing. Right? Yeah, Mindshare I think is a great indicator. Get you to the wallet share, right?
Yeah, it starts with the mind, then it goes to the wallet.
And it's almost like when I think about that question, I think a lot of it is it's like a two-stage process, because getting the partner on board is one thing. Getting all of their sellers and their team engaged is another, right? Because you can have the owner or the management say, "This is great, let's go do it." Are they able to motivate and drive their team to go take on the new product? Motorola has done a lot of acquisitions of a lot of different companies. And so from a partner perspective, you're a Motorola partner, man, there's it's overwhelming. You've got so many different new products and solutions, and the way that we're providing it out to the end customer, it's a lot to keep track of. And so a lot of partners and sellers, for that matter, will default to, hey, this is what I know. I know I can hit my numbers just selling what I've been selling the last 3 years. I'm not going to take on anything new. Whereas we need to show growth and drive these new products and innovation out to the marketplace. So doing that is, I think it's a combination. So there's been a lot of, once you get the partners signed up and willing to do that, from an owner level, from a partner level, management level rather, a lot of that comes down to having the right programs and incentives in place from that standpoint to make sure the financials make sense, that they can support that from a business. Then the second part of it then becomes, how do you train and enable the sellers and motivate them to go do that? So where we've had the most success is just comes down to sort of like hand-to-hand, combat type of a thing, is getting with those sellers, doing ride-alongs, doing sales calls with them, making them part of our training sessions. But the most important part is just getting out there and talking with customers in front of them and building up that habit and that experience. And a lot of it becomes monkey see, monkey do. Once they end up saying, okay, well, this is how it works. Oh, here's how I can really grow and add to my sale. That becomes the repeatable aspect. And when we've gotten that right, that's when we've seen a new product introduction or a new company acquisition get introduced into our channel with a lot of success. We've had lots of times when it hasn't, because we didn't do that correctly, and it just sort of got thrown out. So here, have the channel go sell it. They know a lot of people. They got good connections, and it just sort of, flops.
So a key ingredient to that is the manager who often sits and represents that channel partner. So in your case at Motorola, it's the manager that then interfaces with the sellers at the channel partner. That's a key relationship.
Oh yeah,
And
that really is.
you made me think a moment ago. I don't think I've ever had this thought, which I always love those moments. Is you can train someone and bring somebody into a room and give them training on the product. But as you were speaking a minute ago, I was thinking to myself, I think I've seen more people learn as a channel partner about product by watching the salesperson from the OEM do what they do in front of a customer. And it almost seems like, not that training people in a room isn't a good idea, but it has a lot more impact in terms of they're modeling the behavior of the salesperson who represents the OEM.
Without a doubt. I think I can think of a couple examples. I mean, well, I watch a lot of videos on golf swings, right? But until I get out there and start actually trying to swing, it's a whole different animal, right? And I've known people also that have known Sandler.
It's a great example.
Every book, they know all the rules, the principles, they can recite everything by heart. They get in front of a customer and it's like, what happened, right? It's like they're spilling their candy, they're going really quick, they're doing free consulting, they're just going through all the list of stuff because practicing is key. And so I agree. And you've had the benefit of working with so many of our channel partners and the ones that have done that. I think it's just that it's that practice. It's going to the dojo and doing it all the time. That's the only way that you'll be able to get it. You can read a lot of stuff, watch a lot of stuff until you've got to say the words and get the reactions live. It's totally different.
And everybody thinks it's so much easier. You're like, oh, you just watched, me or somebody else from Sandler to go through something, and then you put them in and ask them to go do it.
Yes.
It reminds me, I still to this day love the show Beat Bobby Flay. Just absolutely one of my favorite shows. It's a competitive cooking show. And after 3 years of watching Beat Bobby Flay, I thought, maybe I should jump in the kitchen and learn to
start chopping the carrot.
I mean, I've seen hundreds of these episodes, but apparently there's a significant difference between watching Beat Bobby Flay and actually being in the kitchen and holding a knife and cooking.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that too. So as a channel partner or a distributor, as they're learning, they need to do the work. They need to see it and model it, but they also need to do it on their own in order for them to begin to ingrain it so that they get out of their comfort zone and actually sell.
Yeah. They really do. But it goes both ways, right? I think a big mistake of a lot of manufacturers is almost this this perspective of, hey, we know more than you do, channel partner, right? Yeah. And a lot of channel partners have been selling, like I said, for decades, have a lot of great experience and capabilities. They just might not have the latest, positioning statement or understanding of new products. So I think as much as we help them, it also goes the other way around too. When our channel team is working with our channel partners and co-selling with their folks, they're learning from us, but we're also learning from them and getting perspectives and insights on what they're seeing, with end user customers, first place in the marketplace. And that helps us then, a good feedback loop to say, here's how we need to update the product. Here's how we need to change our marketing on it. Here's what customers are saying directly so many times as a objection or as an issue that we need to get resolved and bring that back out. So it's a great continuous feedback loop that benefits both us as a manufacturer and our channel partners as sellers to the end customers.
It's a really good point. Really, really good point. And by the way, you make me think by saying that too, that, and most or a lot of our listeners are Sandler focused. Man, is it important that that channel partner at least knows some fundamentals of Sandler.
Yes.
And if the OEM, in this case Motorola, if your sellers know Sandler and they go in with an upfront contract or they reverse in a certain moment, that co-seller that is part of the channel partner or the channel or the distributor, they have to know what the other person is doing enough. Otherwise, you step on each other's toes and nothing good comes out of that. It becomes a train wreck.
It's amazing. When you have someone that has no Sandler knowledge or capability, they'll almost be like, no, we've got to like give them all the features and benefits right now. We got to like the first opening statement. We just got to throw everything at them and then see what sticks, right? Or we've got our one shot, or anyone that asks for a quote, we're just going to send it out and we'll blanket them and we'll see if it happens. And yeah, it becomes such a struggle to try to work with sellers like that, because it's like it's like having your eyes opened, right? It's like no, man, that is such a waste of energy and time and puts you in a very negative space. But until they get some perspective or understanding of that, and I think it's like 100% success rate. Once you can get people to understand it, they're like, oh, okay. But being able to get them there is key, and that's why we've invested a lot with you, with Sandler, to try to drive that. And I always call it's like going to church, right? It's a constant thing that you have to keep reinforcing and driving. Because I mean, the great thing about Sandler and the principles, and it's a lot of it makes sense, right? It follows human dynamics, but it's just like a good golf swing follows great dynamics. But being able to do it is another thing. So understanding and following the principles and the rules and doing it the right way makes all the difference in having a very effective and productive conversation versus one that where you totally screw the sale or miss the opportunity or something else, right? But that's where I've seen this be such a big benefit.
Hey, John, how have you seen people that are channel managers, they're managing this relationship? Let's say a situation where they understand that it's important to qualify and to get pain, budget, and decision and all of these things using Sandler. But let's say that the distributor or the channel partner doesn't have those things. And this is a tough one. I'll just let you know that right up front. But how have you seen the best managers who know what needs to be collected in terms of information? How have you seen them be able to get the channel partner to be able to go get that information when they may not know Sandler as much? Yeah. Any thoughts there?
It's tough. And I can think of some recent conversations where, some of those channel managers struggled because the comments back from the sellers, like we're working on a large sole source proposal, and they wanted them to go back to the buying influence and ask some questions. And he was pushing back hard. The seller was like, well, I can't go ask him that. And he didn't want to talk to him and engage. He just wanted to follow the published process. And he was there was no legal issues with doing so. But just the thought of them asking or pushing back, same time when people would ask for discounts, you have an end customer ask for discounts, and pushing back or challenging that, not have money weakness right off the bat. Those are lots of things that what I'd say a non-Sandler seller will fold like a wrinkled suit and just give in right away and not do that. So trying to explain that to someone is a challenge for our account managers, and where I've seen them have success is where they can relate it back to, hey, this is going to be a faster, more sure way of getting to the deal and getting to your commissions and or solving the customer's problem. And our channel account managers have the benefit of working with a lot of different partners, so they can pull from different success stories, and hopefully with that credibility. And that's what so much is important. It's relationships, and our channel account managers are fantastic at that. They really care about the success and partnership they have with our partners, and so they relying on a lot of that to, hey, trust me, let's do this. This is the best way to do it. Sometimes they've had to go to, hey, listen, I need to have this internally. So if you care about me, Mark, as your channel account manager, and you want me to continue serving you, these are the things that I need to go do that. And then as they get that information, all of a sudden they go, oh, wow, that actually was helpful. And then it becomes more natural. So those are a few of the different things that the folks have done to help get those types of information bites from end users with some success.
And a lot of that, John, when I hear that, it comes back to trust, the relationship, which is as managing a channel partner and someone who doesn't directly report to you that you could, quote, hire and fire, although you can, but still that's not what's typically going to happen.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know,
And
you really have to rely on personal relationships with people in order to be able to influence. And
that's the key. That's the
that's the
biggest.
key.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing. But again, when you start having that discussion with someone, it's hard for them to make a compelling argument as why would we not find out pain,
Yeah.
budget, decision process, right? I mean, it's like, it's hard to make an argument of like, no, we don't need to know that. We'll just throw a price at them and hope for the best, right? So if you can have that type of a logical discussion, I think that's where they've had success. Just sometimes it's more painful than others to get the seller on board to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a different understanding, different process from what they were raised on.
And I always share with those folks too. Hey, if you need us to, call us in. We can't fully train them, but we'll do a little bit of time with them and help them understand a couple core principles to help out.
I think, I can think back when you guys have done that. It's made all the difference because, like you said, it's not a full training, but it's just giving some insights and thought process that I think every time it's made people like, oh wait, we need to think about this more or differently, and it just lights the light bulb up because a lot
it
of
explains the why you're doing the what.
Yes, yeah, and that's helped a lot, and I think that's important. I really encourage people that are not on Sandler, that are not doing that, just to check it out and understand. And I defy anybody to say, no, this would not help and this wouldn't make sense. Because the thing I love about it, like we've talked about before, it's not just for selling. It's just for effective discussions and personal matters and everything in business, right? So it benefits the whole business and it benefits the individual in their personal lives too. So I think it's just, who doesn't want to have more intentional, productive conversations, right? I mean, that's the whole deal.
That's a big piece. That is the whole deal.
You could open up a whole new branch and just open it up for like marriages and for personal relationships and things
Sandler
like that.
for dating.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen it all over. By the way, I got in this business because one of our manufacturer's reps used Sandler. They were our number one rep in North and South America, and they got one of our rep managers into Sandler, and that rep manager got me into Sandler.
Oh, okay.
I saw the manager, Mike, just transform himself over the course of a year. And because he was using Sandler and he was going through Sandler at the time, and I knew about it, but it was such a distant thing to me. I didn't pay much attention to it until a year or so later he brought it back. So I actually got involved in Sandler because of a channel partner, manufacturer's rep. So
yeah, well, that's pretty cool. And I think a lot of I obviously talked to a lot of sales managers and different folks that are responsible for sales and revenue. And there's a lot of different systems out there. A lot of them are good. The thing I liked about Sandler is at Motorola, we had strategic selling. We've got Miller Hyman that we use as well. And but I think Sandler was a great way to go enable those different tools. So whether you have your own homegrown tools where you're capturing and scoring things, or different manual type of efforts, I always saw Sandler as the most effective way to go get that information and go have those discussions to make that all work, right? And so that's where I think it really complements wherever companies are at on what they're doing with different selling tools and different things like that. It becomes the turbo booster on the whole deal.
Yeah, I love that, and thank you for that. I feel the same way, and it's part of why I love Sandler so much. It's the how to go do something.
Yeah,
like Medic is a great framework. I love Medic. I love Miller Hyman. I love all of these different models. Sandler is the how you go collect that information.
Yes.
It may be the what you need to get, although we have some whats too. But whatever model you use for what information you need to get, Sandler's a how to go get it, and so find it works really well for that reason alone. John, you mentioned metrics. So if we think through that piece to it as well, maybe we talk for a minute about some of the metrics that people use, that you use. What's important to measure, and how do you do reviews with people over time with a channel partner to make sure that they're on the same page as you and that you're still performing towards common financial, fiscal goals and the like. Any key thoughts that you got there?
Yeah, a lot. We've invested and spent a lot of time on metrics, especially when you have a larger channel, that pumps a lot of revenue, a lot of business, a lot of transactions. Being able to to measure it and be able to identify, like I was mentioning earlier, where you've got soft spots, where things are slipping or where things are really going well, is so critical to keeping the machine going and making sure you're addressing all the different spots of it. So, there's I think the most powerful metrics are the leading indicators, the ones that give you an insight as to, hey, where's the business going? What's going on? It's great to know where you're at in terms of, revenue, sales, whether quotes and proposals are given out. But doing some of those leading metrics, and those are harder to come by because it depends on the reporting from the business. But things like end user meetings, engagements with those customers, understanding how much we're talking to them, qualified proposals that are getting out, and things of converting our pipeline from opportunities into actual deals. Those are all leading indicators to give us an idea of, hey, how's this business going? Where's it aspiring to, and how we're working there. Other things that we look at, again, it's almost like an endless list of metrics, but we try to keep it narrowed as much as we can. So point of sale, understanding how of our sales of our products happening from our partner shelves and from their inventories out to their end user customers. So we don't want to, you have a lot of channel programs where you can just stuff the channel, so to speak, and have them stock their shelves with a lot of inventory. But if it's not getting out to end user customers, that's really not doing anyone any good. It puts your partners in a fiscally challenging point in terms of challenging their cash flow and holding all that inventory. And it's an indicator that you're not getting your product out to the marketplace. And so you have an issue with demand or something that's happening from that standpoint. So that's a key one that we look at as well, is what's the point of sale looking like, and our partners getting that done. So as we look at those different metrics, that's where we'll determine, hey, do we need to look at driving different promotions? Do we need to change our selling approach with our sellers and with our partners to help them go drive more product out to the field? Do we need to even change some of our products and do things differently as we watch what's going on in the marketplace and what's happening there? But things like, looking at what their pipeline creation is, we put a whole scorecard together for each one of our partners. And it's, one of the things I always like to tease the team and our partners with is like, hey, I don't want to start any trouble, but I show them how they're ranking compared to the other folks. And so our sales team's highly competitive. Our partners, right? You get the right partners. Is another thing I look for in terms of, what makes it an ideal partner. The ones that are, got fire in the belly, that want to go compete and go drive to win. So when you've got those types of partners, and most of them are, and our sellers, when you show the scorecards, you say, hey, you're down here compared to where the market's at and your peers are at. That drives a lot of behavior too. So having the right scorecards to drive that is really key.
Love it. And imagine you do those in some kind of review with the folks.
We do. So we do a quarterly business review, but they have access to their scorecard, so they can go online through our partner relationship management and go see what, at any one time, what their score is and how they're doing against the key metrics that we've provided for them at the beginning of the year. We give them a quota in terms of target sales for revenues and a few other things like that.
So a lot of visibility.
See what they're doing. Yeah.
A lot of visibility.
Yeah.
And maybe the last point to take a minute on is something that I saw in my 16 years of doing this as well. And you've got, 2x experience on that side. But I just found that the easier you made it to do business with that channel partner, that person, the more successful we were. And by the way, when I was doing that in my corporate days, it was part of a huge, big Fortune 500 company. And it wasn't always easy. But that said, the easier we could make it to do business with us, it just seemed like we sold more through that particular channel. Have you seen that? Any comments there?
Without a doubt. And easy is like the holy grail. Easy and consistent are the holy grail in the channel business. But probably in so many different aspects of business and selling, right? To make it where you can spend the least amount of time, doing all the back office stuff, and the most amount of time engaging customers and solving problems and helping them get to where they need to get to. So yeah, we always, there's a lot of time that we spent. That was a big mantra when I first took over the channel was, hey, let's be easy to do business with. Let's make that happen, which became it was a challenge, quite frankly, because then the whole pandemic happened with COVID. and supply chain constraints became a
Yeah.
very
Oof.
real big impact. And so that made anything but easy and consistent, right? We had these giant spikes. We had difficulty getting components, all those different types of things. So we had to work hard to, sort of make that happen. And we had to have our partners and our team sell in a different way and engage their customers in a different way. But that easy and consistency is key. When we're back at that point now, which is nice. But again, we're constantly surveying our partners. I think we've gotten a lot better on the easy scale, but we're a complex, big organization, and that's there's still a lot of room for us to get better and be easier to do business with. But so much.
Well, I think
that
you
comes
said it
down to
right there is how do we make it easier? Because I think I think I could hear somebody who's listening in that they manage a relationship and they're like, I work for a big company. We're not easy to do business with.
Yeah.
My counsel would be is how can you make it easier? The Holy Grail, in your words, is easy.
Yes.
Okay, great. How can we get closer to easy by making it easier? And a lot of times there are things that we can do that make a difference there. So just
so much is just like a big incremental things, right? And understanding, what some of those pain points are. Like we had a team put together, and we really tried to improve our out of box experience. So when we sell a lot of radio devices. So when they walk through that whole process with our partners, they saw how much time was being spent on unboxing, prepping the device, getting it ready to go deliver to their customer. And so we did a lot of things, automating the process, even changing the packaging to make it easier for them to store, to unpack, to repack, things like that. They just cut out a lot of time for them. So we did stuff like that. We also have done a lot to invest internally to make it easier to access information that we have. That's probably one of the things that I think is really challenging for our partners and just for all of us, right? Is you're inundated with so much info. So we're really trying to take advantage of AI now and make it where it's more, a lot more efficient to be able to go find out what you want to go find out and tap that knowledge database without having to comb through tons of YouTube videos and a lot of different manuals and things like that. So that's where I see the most effort being spent and invested now, is just to help it make that access to all the information, because we've got all the different ways to sell, how to sell, the data to support it, the presentations, all those types of things. It's a matter of, as a seller, as you're driving to go engage and talk with your customer or do a web meeting with them, you make it easy for them to access it quickly to what they need, when they need it, that makes sense and resonates with their customer.
it just makes it easier to the path to victory and the path to money. And without a doubt, we sell more that way.
Yep.
John,
right.
You are a wealth of knowledge on this topic. We could go on for forever.
I love it. Yep.
We'll put a bow on it. I will say to you, John, you are, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, you are one of the most, not just liked, but most well-respected leaders I've run into.
Well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate that.
It's such a pleasure to work with you, and thank you for being on our show today.
Thank you. I really appreciate you and your team. You guys have been responsible for a lot of success that we've had. And I'm glad to see so many more of our partners are continuing to embrace and engage. So I hope that continues. But until next time, thanks a lot.
Until next time. Thank you, John. God bless.